your picks, give me your insights. I want the bets from Betting Weekly, because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It is Thursday the 10th of July. You with Steve Wyss, and I'm delighted to be joined by Tim Dennis today to give us some really strong Wimbledon angles. Tim, how are you doing? I'm sure you're absolutely engrossed with this Sabalenka match, which looks like it's coming to a close.
Yeah, well, there might still be a bit left because I've seen Anna Samova get a little bit tight at the business end of tournaments before. She leads 5-2, so she just needs the one more game if she can keep Sabalenka at bay for a little bit more. But yeah, a little bit of tennis left to come. Sabalenka's, it's just the one break behind. So if Sabalenka can hold a serve and break back, then that'll make things very interesting. But it's been a fascinating match so far, and Sabalenka probably just making one or two many errors at the big times, and yeah, Anna Samova's on the front foot as we speak.
I thought she normally gets beat in finals, not semi-finals, Tim. But minus 1,000 now, Anna Samova to win this match. Just needs one more game. Plus 650 for Sabalenka. I know there's various people out there who've got outright tickets on Sabalenka, even Anna Samova as well. We will keep our eye on the contest. If a bet screams out at you, Tim, at any stage, do immediately let us know live. I actually planned this show out that we would be live in play for the second semi-final. We can talk about the second semi-final for the ladies coming up soon. But welcome in, everyone. We've got plenty on our slate today with Wimbledon. Going to get a full in-depth preview from Tim's thoughts on the men's semi-final tomorrow as well. Game Better Match has just been released an hour ago with Sean and Nigel. I'm going to have some Conference League plays and some Europa League plays at the end of the show. All sorts of random sides in action across Europe this evening. It's kind of crazy times, to be honest, but I hope everyone's doing quite well. Just going back to some notable winners yesterday on the soccer, especially PSG. How good were they? Absolutely run riot against Real Madrid, and several winners on them there. Nearly $25,000 on taking the over one first half goal market, over 1.5 goals as well. England versus Netherlands in the women's. A good winner there for under 5.5 goals, actually. Nearly $10,000. Live streams today on Bet Rivers. 8 Europa League qualifying matches and the 18 Conference League qualifying games as well. Bet Rivers app or Bet Rivers website, you can get involved there. And 2 Copa Chile matches for those who like their South American content. Biggest bet yesterday was on the Red Sox minus 1.5 run line against the Rockies. That was a winner, $60,000 on the exchanges. Congratulations to that particular better. Good to see Duncan Evans, Gator fan as well. Blinker God, good to see you. RHM, Brick Haley. I'll talk about the Sheriff and Shakthar games tonight at RHM. Looks like you've got a lot invested there, Brick Haley as well. But 5-3 now here. Anna Samova serving for the game. In terms of the second semi-final for the ladies, Tim, Belinda Bencic there against Iga Swiatek. Swiatek minus 335 favourites. How is she looking heading into this game here, Swiatek? I think she's actually been backed in, hasn't she? She was minus 300, I think, about 24 hours ago. For those looking to get on a sort of a late bet with the Conference League coming later, then who do you think for this second semi-final?
Yeah, for those of you guys that listened to Rory and Mitch and I on Betting Weekly Live yesterday in the tennis, we had a quick look at this game, but just to go over it again, like you said, a little bit of money there for Swiatek shortening up again. And you can probably see why. She's been excellent so far this tournament, which is against what many people thought. She's never got to the quarterfinals here at Wimbledon before. Obviously, she surpassed that in this tournament. She holds a 4-1 winning record against Bencic. I think the only time they met here on grass was 2 years ago when Swiatek won 6-7, 7-6, 6-3 in a match that featured 2 tie breaks. And I thought one of the interesting ones was perhaps for a set 1 tie break in this match was a big price at plus 575, and just any tie break in the whole match was plus 245. Bencic played 2 tie breaks yesterday against Mira Andreeva, winning both of those, and she well deserved to win that match. She was dominant on the service points won and return points won. And I think these two, in their last 3 matches, they've actually played 4 tie breaks in their head-to-head, these two. So just looking at that, I just thought that was slightly overpriced there at plus 245 any tie break in the match. So yeah,
that's quite a big price, isn't it, for Wimbledon especially?
Sabalenka has a break point here, just against Anisimova.
This is big for her. She needs to. She really needs to take this.
Well, I think Sabalenka's only taken 2 from 12 break points so far, so she'll be desperate to take this one, and she hasn't taken it. So she's 2 from 13 on break points in this match so far. So that can kind of tell you where the game's gone in Anisimova's favour.
In terms of the money for this game, 95% of the money is on Swiatek. In terms of the spread, though, much more evenly split. 52% of the money on Swiatek. It's pretty much 50-50. In terms of the over games line, we've got 72% of the money there. Just an interesting stat that producer Troy sent me over. Iga Swiatek has failed to cover the game spread in 9 of her last 10 WTA semi-finals. That might mean absolutely nothing. But just an opinion here from you, Tim, about the spread, which is around about 4.5. I guess the danger is Swiatek has been known to rack up the big wins, hasn't she?
Yeah, it's interesting that game spread. Obviously, those sort of previous, I think she's had 10 matches now, and they've all come on the grass. So we're used to Swiatek winning those games on clay courts and probably covering handicaps there, where she's set maybe 5, 6, 7, even 8.5 sometimes on the clay and the hard courts. So yeah, that's really interesting that she hasn't managed to do it on the grass, and that could be a trend that continues. And I think the game spread in the Samsonova game was 3.5, and she did covering that. So I mean, bar that game, it's nearly every game she hasn't then. And I noticed that even though the prices are fairly similar, the spread has gone up to 4.5 here, and you can see why without covering it too often on these grass courts. Whether that's got something to play, that's probably what I would be thinking.
Belinda Bencic has won the first set 7-6 in each of her last 3 main draw matches as an underdog at Wimbledon. That would certainly help you out with a tie-break one there. I mean, if you had to
had a match point, sorry, Steve, failed to take it, and Sabalenka has another break point now. So she's got to start taking one of these, because otherwise it's going to cost her. Whenever
I watch tennis matches, I mean, this especially seems to be the case on the women's side. It seems like torture for some of them to get over the line. You know, it's this well-known sort of thing in most sports. The hardest point to win is the final point.
She's got the break 5-4. Sorry, Steve.
Oh my goodness me! So she actually saved a match point.
Saved a match point. She's now -106 favourite, and she was plus 600, I think, when we came on there.
-106, -118. Where would your money be now if you weren't already invested? Would you get involved? I mean, this is close.
I mean, Sabalenka's the underdog here because she's still got to serve to stay in the match. I mean, Anisimova can still break her to win, but that's why she's the favourite. But Anisimova, like I said before, I've seen her get tight in these situations, and she's never been in this kind of situation. Well, she has played in a Grand Slam semi-final before, which she lost. But this is the only time since her comeback that she's been in a situation like this again. So I'm surprised Sabalenka's the dog. I thought it would probably be a pick'em. So I'm on Sabalenka, as I'm sure many people are, like you said, with the percentage of the money. So yeah, I'd stick with her, and hopefully she can come through. But it's going to be a fast. She's got to hold her serve here to just get to that stage. So
I mean, looking back, that say she goes on to win the tournament, that could be massive. She was a match point down. I mean, we saw in the French Open final there with Alcaraz saving, 3 championship points?
Yeah,
maybe
3.
more.
All in a row, those 3. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many times an eventual champion has survived genuine match points throughout a tournament. That would be interesting to see. But we'll keep our eye on this game. That Bencic match coming up, of course, tie break in the game, plus 245 could be worth nibble. There's loads of interest in Wimbledon right now. Everywhere I'm looking, even I'm watching it, Tim. I don't always watch tennis. I watch the big games. And tomorrow we've got, it might be one of the best looking semi-final lineups in recent Wimbledon history. Certainly for the men, we've got Taylor Fritz against Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner against Novak Djokovic. You'll be able to watch Game Bet Match with Sean and Nigel. But I'm really interested to hear your thoughts as well. We'll start with Fritz versus Alcaraz, as it is the more lopsided affair in terms of the odds anyway. Nearly minus 600 Alcaraz here. In terms of that, there doesn't seem to be much doubt about him. But do you see Fritz giving him many problems here? The game spreads at 5.5, 37.5 for games over under. Does Fritz have any sort of chance?
I think so. Fritz has done really well. He obviously won the tournament there in Eastbourne leading into this week. And then he's had a tough draw, really. He opened up against Petty Perigard when he looked like he was probably a bit sluggish after Eastbourne, managed to come through that, and then played a real sort of sleeper in Gabriel Diallo, and who's been the sort of one of the most improved player on the tour this year, managed to come through that as well. And the thing that's stood Fritz in really good stead so far this week is he's winning 84.8% of his first serve points at this tournament. And if he can keep serving well like he has done all week and at Eastbourne, then that should stand him in good stead. So that 5.5 could be slightly interesting. I got slightly stung on Fritz at the in the game against Kachanov in the quarterfinals when he was I did him to cover the handicap, and I think he won the first 2 sets and was bang on to do that, but then gave a serve minus. Lost her third set 6-1, to sort of blow that handicap out of the water. So
3 match points here, Tim. 3 match points for Anisimova. Can she take one of these? She's missed the first one. Yeah, the first one. If she doesn't get over the line here now, that's it for me. I would bet on Sabalenka blind if Sabalenka wins this game. I would absolutely lump on that. You can't. There'd be no going back for me after that. But she's got 2 more chances plus the actual potential juice and stuff. Wow, it's dramatic, isn't it?
It is dramatic.
When he gets to this stage. And there's a fault as well. If you double fault here to lose the game, it has happened, I'm sure.
She double faulted to lose the first set earlier, so wow. She has had the issues on serve, but because of big brave second serve. But because she's just hit 2 lines there, Sabalenka.
This is just mental, isn't it? Watching it, crikey! This is remarkable stuff.
She saved another one left.
Oh, it's dramatic, isn't it? I don't get this very often on Betting Weekly Live, Tim.
Yeah, sorry guys if we're getting a bit derailed with this, but it's a massive moment in sport. This,
So we were going back here to the game spread. Do you think plus 5.5 could be on the generous side?
It could be, but that would just worry me what Fritz did in that third set there against Kachanov the other day. Just giving one away, and he might have a similar sort of problem with Alcaraz, because if he loses his serve, chances are he's going to be not a huge favourite to break Alcaraz's serve too often. So you can just disappear in those sets. And Anisimova's won.
She's just won it.
Yeah,
a really good forehand, that wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, full credit.
Can she win the whole thing?
She can. Yeah, she's just beaten the best player in the game at the moment. How
does she match up against the potential? Just say it was Swiatek. How would she match up against her sort of game? Do you think?
Anisimova is a little bit very similar to Sabalenka, a power player, and I think at the beginning of the fortnight you would have took Anisimova on grass certainly to beat Iga, but Iga's done really well this last 10 days and surprised a lot of people, including myself. So obviously she's got to get through Bencic first, but Anisimova, we sat watching that. Whether she'd be hoping for Bencic, who knows? But she'll be hoping it goes long, I'd imagine.
Yeah, certainly. So in terms of bets for this Fritz Alcaraz game, then, what sort of angle would you be looking at, or a lean potentially?
Yeah, I had a bit of a lean in my sort of set 1 overs. I had a look at. I'll have to check if the price has changed since yesterday, but I think over 10.5 in set 1 was plus 170 with Bet Rivers when I looked yesterday. So if that's still a similar price, that's probably where I'd be looking with with Fritz looking really good on serve, winning sort of, like I said, just under 85% of first serve points. So I think if he can, he'll be a little bit like Sinner and Shelton yesterday. If he can keep that first set tight, he'll really be looking to take that, to get a foothold in the match. And it's really important for Fritz, that first set. If he wins it, you can see him at least having a chance of causing that upset. But if he doesn't, then you'd imagine Alcaraz will end up running away with it. So yeah, over 10.5 in the first set was where I was looking.
Yeah, some interesting data again here from producer Troy. Each of Taylor Fritz's last 5 main draw matches as an underdog at Wimbledon have gone over the total match games line. And Fritz has covered the spread in each of his last 8 main draw matches as an underdog in this country. So the stats point to potentially over games, potentially Fritz covering the spread. Do you think he can win? I mean, do you give him a set here, Tim? Taylor Fritz?
I think, like I've said, that first set's going to be crucial to him. If he can take that first set, then obviously you're going to win on that. But yeah, I'd be surprised if Alcaraz broke him comfortably a couple of times in that first set. Well, even hopefully not even once to cover our bet. Or if he does, it's going to be break him at 5-all, and then we could still cash. And again, I harp on about going back to that Sinner game yesterday. He took the first set 7-6 in that tie break. Shelton was actually up a mini break, and then Sinner was just always looked reasonably comfortable, and that's what these guys at this level do. Fritz is, I think he'll be back to number 4 in the world after this tournament, but there you can just see that level above that Alcaraz and Sinner are at the moment, and I think everyone's pretty much aware of that, including the players themselves. So Fritz's biggest chance for me is to keep that first set as competitive as he can, and that's why I like that bet.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to you guys who did the Wimbledon draw reaction show. Pretty sure there was at least one of you did say Anisimova in a nice section here. Might be worth a bet at 33-1. And I think Taylor Fritz was also mentioned to be in quite a soft section and would likely win his quarter. That was a great show, actually. There's so many views in that show, and so it was great to see the insights from it. And
yeah, it was. And I think that we all did a new Betting Weekly tennis newsletter for the special for Wimbledon. We all did our sort of main hopes, and then our big price hopes and our fades, and they've gone with my outside hope was Anisimova, actually, who's just beaten my outright winner Sabalenka. So you sort of got it right there. And
well, that's pretty good going. That, I mean, for those who, the insider. By the way, while we're talking about the insider, do sign up for free. We've got an incredible Open Championship preview coming out to your inbox on Friday. I have seen most of the draft. It looks really good. We've got picks from Dan Roebuck. We've got picks from Simon Holden. Neil Channing has got some exclusive picks on there, along with our producer, John Izzard. Really, this insider goes from strength to strength. I think the Serie A season preview, early season preview, is going to be involved with this newsletter as well. The work going on behind the scenes from editor Paul Hughes can't be underestimated. Do sign up for free. And thanks to everyone who's been subscribing to the channel recently and hitting that like button. We've got over 10,000. I was live on air when it happened, Tim, actually, the other day. It was quite nice. Moment, nice moment, that. Thanks to everyone who's been hitting that subscribe button. Really do appreciate you all. There was one other stat that I was looking at, and I forgot what I was going to do, so I'm going to go through the comments now because I've been ignoring you all. I've been so engrossed with the tennis. But Villa fan, good to see you. As well. The Sabalenka match has aged in 10 years. Were you on the right side of that match, That's what we want to know. Abdul Ahmed Bunyamin, good to see you. I've been all right. I've been quite hot, Abdul. It's been really hot here recently in the UK, and it's going to get even hotter. I'm just not used to it. Once I'm used to it, I'm all right. I'm going to absolutely be sweating like anything on Saturday on the cricket field. I tell you, around here, it's going to be in the 30 degrees of Celsius, which is that's hot for Yorkshire. Trust me.
You're not wearing wicketkeeper's pads as well, are you?
No, I'm not a wicketkeeper.
Half relief anyway.
I'm a batsman, and it's one of those sort of days where everyone's going to want me to bat first. It'll be too hot for them fielding else. Gratz, never seen anyone get their bags and walk off so quickly. That's Sabalenka, though, isn't it? I mean, a lot caller a really bad loser, but show me Show me a bad loser who's a winner, a good loser, sorry, who's a winner. You've got to have that fire sometimes. And, for her now, it's about defending that title at Flushing Meadows, isn't it? She's got one more chance to win a Grand Slam this year. It could go down as one of the best Grand Slam years from a lady without winning one, Tim.
I mean, obviously Iga's got a chance left here, and obviously in the US still. But obviously she didn't win the French this year. Didn't lost in Australia to the victor their keys. So she'll be looking to. I mean, it'd be amazing if she actually wins Wimbledon as her one Grand Slam this year. Nobody would have predicted that. But if she doesn't win here and neither of them win in America, you'd be shocked if somebody told you at the start of the year that neither of those two players would win a Grand Slam, and that's still a possibility.
Chamu Mombrezzi, nephew's birthday vibes was a live dog I took over 21 and a half games. I presume that was in that Sabalenka match, Chamu. Well done. See you on that one. Grazia, is anyone taking plus 700 on PSG for the Champions League next season? I think we've got to see. I think they'll win the Club World Cup final, and then I mentioned it a month or so ago on the Champions League show. Now they've climbed this mountain, what's it going to be like? Because sometimes when teams and players achieve what they want to do, there is a letdown. I don't personally think PSG will play that well from August through to Christmas. And I wonder if you might get a bigger price than them at some point during the season, Grazia. I think the only game they'll be bang up for is actually the Super Cup against Spurs, just simply because they'll want to win it. I think they could be quite sloppy in the first few months of the season, but then maybe come alive again after Christmas. And it's all about timing in sport, Tim. Isn't it? You've got to hit peak form at the right time, whether it's football, soccer, tennis, motor racing, whatever. If you can hit form at the right time, I think, and that's as best as we've got to try and identify that as well.
Just as from sort of my point of view as an outsider on football, kind of looking in, how do you assess now these teams that have played in this Club World Cup that are then going to have to go back to domestic football without a huge amount of a break? Is that going to be a big issue going forward?
I'm fading them. I think the European teams, you've got to fade them, because I was listening to Xabi Alonso, the new Real Madrid manager, yesterday, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, I think we need a break. He's classing it as this isn't the start of the new season. This is a continuation from the previous season. Now they're going to have a break. Normally these players come back from pre-season training about now, maybe a week or two later. So I think you've got to give them at least 3 weeks off, maybe 4. So I think a lot of these teams that have been in the Club World Cup in August may well come out of the traps quite slowly. I reckon if you bet against all these teams in Europe that have been in the Club World Cup on, say, Asian handicaps blind in August, I reckon you make profit. Certain teams more than others. But then, gradually you get a chance to refresh and recharge. There's an international break in September, which can be all right. But all we keep hearing is the players. It's too much for the players. And I suppose when there's so much being said about it from several sources, you've got to believe that, right? There can be overburn on athletes. You might know that. And we've got to take that seriously. Yeah,
I mean, I guess some of those City players, they're probably going to be, obviously they got home a little bit earlier, but they're pretty much going to be straight back into pre-season, aren't they? Whereas I'd imagine a lot of them want to go on a 3-week holiday, but they're just not going to have that chance, are they?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look after the players. I think now that it's to the clubs, it's their responsibility. The FIFA schedule, the UEFA schedule hasn't really helped them out. The clubs now have got to do the right thing. And look, there's so much advance in medical stuff now. They'll know what strains on these players. If they need a certain amount of time off, they've got to give them it. And probably by contractual as well. So I'm looking in August to maybe fade some of these teams, seeing the right sort of situations, what the matchups might be. But that's looking quite a long way in advance. And, there might be some looking to bet on that Club World Cup and Super Cup double if it's even available. But I think that's going to be 2 more trophies for PSG. It's going to be an incredible year for them. It's as simple as that. But I do think they might be a little bit below par, maybe all the way up to Christmas, really. It just might be understandable. But in the French League, they can play in second gear and win matches. It's not like Premier League where you have to be, like Chelsea might have to be really on their mettle right from the off. We'll talk. I've still got some plays later on coming in the Conference League and the Europa League. But Sinner versus Djokovic. This is a really tasty game, Tim, as Novak Djokovic got one last dance in him. as a potential Grand Slam champion, plus 163 to beat Sinner. Both players have had some injury concerns throughout the tournament, haven't they? So I guess the first question I've got to ask you is, who is fit? What do we know the latest sort of medical situation with both players?
Yeah, well, I think firstly, starting with Djokovic, I think there was talk about him not practicing this afternoon, whether he might be practicing behind closed doors or it's just a bit of a smoke cloud, or who knows really. I mean, Sinner, again, he practiced indoors yesterday away, and they said that only lasted 20 minutes, but you've got to take these players on their word here, and I'm not certain you can do that. Sinner looked fine yesterday. He was wearing that sleeve when he played against Shelton, but he looked at his brilliant best there against Shelton. Excellent ground strokes, served well. And then Djokovic, he's had this thing this week where he's been sort of stretching his abdomen and stretching down, and whether that's, I think it's probably a bit of a smokescreen, to be honest with you. You've just got to hope these players are fit, and I think it looks like it to me. Certainly as far as Sinner goes, anyway. Djokovic may be the one with the slight niggle, and that's probably because of his age, being 38 years old. But I think Sinner leads the head-to-head between these two, 6-4. I think a couple of those are exhibition matches, which have actually gone in the favour of well, I think one each actually. So I think the actual official ones is 4-all. But Sinner won their match at the French Open in straight sets, 6-4, 7-5, 7-6. But he was actually the better player there, winning the service points won and return points won totals 107 to 93. And I thought actually visually that was as good as Djokovic could have played, and Sinner still took him apart in straight sets. The previous time these guys met in a slam was in Australia in 2024, with Sinner also winning that match 6-2, 6-1, 6-7, 3-6. Again, dominating the service points, won and return points, won 115 to just 85 for Djokovic. So I think in the last few years, Sinner has comfortably got the better of this duo, and I can only see a Sinner victory. Truth be told, I think this is probably Djokovic's last roll of the dice. He'll probably know that, which might give him that little bit of an extra push. But for me, I only see one winner, and that being Jannik Sinner.
Yeah, I mean, if Novak Djokovic can beat Sinner and Alcaraz back to back at this stage of his career, 38 years of age, I think it'd be one of the biggest achievements in tennis, really, in the last decade or two. I know that sounds ridiculous, as he's, the amount of Grand Slam he's won, but 38 years of age.
And to bring up that record of Grand Slams as well, for 25, he can beat the two best players on the planet. It'll be something else. I think in the last round. Sorry, go on.
Just something, Tim, here. Jannik Sinner minus 205 to win the game. Jannik Sinner's not normally this big in terms of odds to win any tennis match. So, for some watching, minus 205 might feel short, but in tennising terms, this is probably as big as he gets against anyone that's not Alcaraz. Is that just simply a no-brainer for some to add to parlays, just simply on the money line?
I mean, certainly one for parlays, because I mean, when we spoke about this match yesterday, that was kind of I guess that it was going to be about I think I said minus 200 Sinner, and obviously he's a fraction shorter, but that probably looks fair to me on what he's done so far this tournament. I think in his last match against Shelton, Sinner only faced 2 break points in the entire match, saving both of those. Served really well. And I think in that French Open match, Sinner he only made 51% of his first serves, but yet still managed to win 79% of his first serve points, whereas it was only 67 for Djokovic. And he just looks, on everything to me, just looks like he's going to come out on top here. Djokovic has spent just over 3 hours longer on court so far at this tournament. But I thought the most interesting stat was that Sinner's only had 78 unforced errors at this tournament so far, compared to 124 for Djokovic. So it just shows you how clean Sinner has played this week. So serving particularly well and keeping that unforced error count reasonably low. And I can only see a Sinner victory, and I think minus 205 is very fair on the money line.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got obviously game lines as well. The spread's at minus 3.5. Match total at 40.5. Sinner to win 3-0 at plus 265. 3-1 is at plus 310. Is there any other markets you'd be interested in getting involved in here, Tim?
Yeah, I think if I was having a bet and I was looking for a sort of a nice plus money price, I'd be looking at Sinner. I quite like 3-0 Sinner at plus 265. He's just from what I've seen, and we know Djokovic is coming to the end of his career, and it might be one last hurrah. But I think just looking at the stats and from what my eyes tell me, that's quite a big price, plus 265 for a straight sets victory.
Yeah, and he is the sort of player that's known for he can really win big, can't he? And quite quickly as well. So maybe the game spread as well could be. I know it's Wimbledon and tie breaks are often on the agenda here, but he breaks serve a lot, doesn't he? He's he's the world number one for a reason. I know you're often looking in the first set sort of angle here, but is this one where Sinner could come out really, really hot? Djokovic, I think, has he lost the first set in both his last two games as well.
He
along
lost
those
a
lines.
first set tiebreak to Kaboli there yesterday and got back 6-1 to Diminor in the previous round. So he has come out a little bit slow, Djokovic, and Sinner will probably look to take advantage of that. Whether that could be a physical thing, whether he's just taking a little bit of time to get warmed up, could be. But yeah, he's like you say, he's lost the first two of his previous sets there. Yeah.
69% of the money is on Sinner. 67% of the money on the spread is on Sinner as well. That's quite a lot for tennis. There's an interesting stat on the games line here that producer Troy gave me. Each of Novak Djokovic's last 7 completed Grand Slam semi-finals have gone under the total match games line, which is that's a little bit remarkable, actually, I must say. And only 60% of the money is on the over on the games line, which is not a lot, really. So maybe a bettors are looking out there. The games line, 40.5 is the games line here. Would you lean under as well here?
Yeah, that would be I'd definitely be leaning under 40.5. Yeah. I'd be surprised if it goes 5 for certain. And I think you'd probably cover that even if it went 4, perhaps, with we've seen Djokovic lose that first set 6-1 to Diminor there the other day, and Sinner can rattle through sets fairly quickly. And I think if you see a player go break behind, certainly 2 breaks, you'll see them just switch off and focus on that next set. So that would be my lean. My lean would be under there as well, under the total 40.5. Yeah. I think Duncan Evans makes an interesting point there about bettors are fearful Sinner might be carrying an injury, but he doesn't think he is. That could be fair. Again, he didn't look like he was carrying much of an injury against Shelton yesterday, so you could just be saying the odd things here to put your rival.
Well, it's the elbow, isn't it? I saw the incident where he fell on his elbow.
Yeah.
And, he was lucky, obviously, that Dimitrov had his pec injury and he probably might have got beaten there. We will never know. I know his serve speed was down for the rest of that game, but it was apparently back to normal pretty much last time out against Shelton. I mean, you've probably had a few elbow injuries in your time. Unless it's actually physically broken or you've got ligament problems, you can recover from sort of a bad bump in 2, 3, 4 days, can't you?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I think he did say himself, actually, it was better 24 hours later. So he's obviously got another pretty much 48 hours on top of that as well. So I think they'd be fairly hopeful that it's going to be back to A1. And if that's the case, then that tells you just what a task Djokovic has in his hands.
I will ask you for your best bet on Friday's men's semi-finals at the end of the show, Tim. But before that, we are going to have a look into the soccer. We've had some comments already. A likes Larn FC on the money line in the Conference League. Put down your best bets in Conference League, Europa League, Women's Euro 2025 as well. There's so many games, not going to be able to go through even a fraction of them. He likes Norway women on the money line as well. And just to start things off there, Norway ladies are against Iceland. I think the reason Norway are so big in this game is that they've already qualified and Iceland are out. You might want to look at the lineups and see how that goes. But normally Norway wouldn't be that big a price. Finland women against Switzerland later as well. Switzerland, the host nation. But tons of games across the Conference League. There's just a few that I've picked out here because there's 2 or 3 bets I'm going to give out. There's a match which kicks off in about 25 minutes time. It's that top one on the board. Kauno Zalgiris from Lithuania against Penybont from Wales. Now, huge favourite here, the home team. I think a -2 Asian handicap at -118 on Kauno Zalgiris is worth a good bet here because Penybont, I've got a really interesting story They apparently lost their luggage traveling over. They didn't get any. Yeah, they lost their luggage, so they were forced to go into a local sports shop and buy training boots, Tim, so they could get a training session in on the day they arrived. I mean,
Well,
it's
I'm going to have to bow to your knowledge here, Steve, because that is fabulous knowledge. If that's true, and I'm sure it is coming from you. But yeah, fair play for knowing that. Not many people know that, I'd imagine.
Well, it was doing the rounds. There was even this sort of CCTV picture image of them in the sports shop all buying the stuff at the checkout. And at the end of the day, what I must say also about Kauno Zalgiris, they are top of this Lithuanian league. They're not normally up there. The champions of Lithuania, another team called Zalgiris, don't get them confused, won yesterday in the Champions League qualifying. So I think that's quite a good look for the league, that their champions, the team that currently in 6th place, were winning in UCL qualifying. Kauno Zalgiris should have enough here for Penybont, who, I mean, look, the Welsh league is one of the worst leagues in Europe. It's simple as that, apart from TNS, who win that league regularly. It's going to be a struggle. You know, it sounds like they've had a difficult trip over, stressful with their luggage and everything. Kauno Zalgiris for me, -2 Asian handicap. I tell you what is a really big price. I think KI Klaksvik, the Faroese team, they're by far the best team in that division. They're going to Finland here to play SJK. I don't think there's a lot of difference between these two teams. Personally, you've got a mid-table Finnish team against by far the best current team in the Faroe Islands. Klaksvik on a handicap plus a half handicap at -120. But I think moneyline on Klaksvik at +255. They're a very good team. They know how to deal with European matches as well. They managed to make the group stage of the Conference League a couple of years ago. Tight defensively, usually. Wouldn't surprise me if this was an under game, 0-1 or 0-2 or even 0-0. But I think they look a big price to me there. At the bottom there, Valur Reykjavik against Flora Tallinn. I think this is a home win here. And Bet Rivers are not currently offering a -1 Asian handicap line, but they will once this match edges closer to kick-off later on. At the moment, -0.75 handicap at -165, I think is worth a go. It's just not a sort of place anyone ever wants to go, to Iceland, really. And Valur Reykjavik should be able to win this game. I watched the champions of Iceland play the other day, Breidablik. They nearly got a result in Albania. It wasn't a bad performance, so I think that was a good look for the league. Flora Tallinn from Estonia, normally quite soft-centered. You'll only get that joke if you're from the UK, I think. But it should be, I think, a home win there. Just going through some of the comments. Brian Emmett, I took Kauno Zalgiris team total at even this morning. I think that's a really good price. Penybont population is about 500, said Gratzer. I've got to say, I don't know exactly where Penybont is. Have you ever been to Penybont, Tim?
I haven't known. By the looks of it, not many people have if the population is 500.
Yeah, I don't really know about that. In terms of Europa League, some teams more well known on. I think someone in chat was asking earlier. I think it was RHM. He's Shakthar and Sheriff. Now, Sheriff Tiraspol was a bet given out by Nathan yesterday on the show on a -1.25 Asian handicap. I'm not going to disagree with him there. Prishtina, I doubt will. I think certainly Sheriff will win the game. By how many goals, I'm not sure, but I think Nathan's bet looks a good one there. And Shakthar Donetsk against Ilves. Ilves have got a brilliant crest, a brilliant team badge from Finland. But, I mean, I'll be surprised if they get anywhere near Shakthar Donetsk here, Ukrainian side. Played in a match is going to be played in a neutral location, obviously, but there should be quite a big gulfing class between the teams. The handicap's around about -2.5, I think, on Shakthar, or -2. I'm not sure about that, but they should win the game. The actual answer to the question that RHM put up earlier, should I let this bet ride? I mean, normally I don't mind a little bit of hedging, Tim, but I think you probably should let this one ride. When you got a -305 favourite and a -670 favourite to win 75 grand. I think you probably got to, let it ride. Maybe if they get ahead, then you can just absolutely hedge off for sure. But yeah, Spartak Trnava against Hacken. That was another match that Nathan gave out yesterday. He likes Hacken there on the -0.25 Asian handicap. I think overs for this game. I've watched a lot of Hacken in Sweden, and they're a bit of a basket case. They're unreliable defensively, but they will have a good go going forward. A lot of injuries recently, especially at the back. And this, for me, it's very hard to know at this stage of qualifying whether to go overs or unders, because teams approach qualifying games differently to domestic leagues. But I think over 2.5, Spartak, Trnava, Hacken is worth a bet. And finally, and this would maybe be one of my best bets of the night, actually, Legia Warsaw against Aktobe. I had to look them up initially, but they're from Kazakhstan, third last season in that league. They're traveling a long way. Legia Warsaw, really experienced team in this competition. Had a good run last season to the quarterfinals, and Chelsea beat them. Last year, starting in qualifying, Legia Warsaw won 9 of their first 10 games, Tim. They usually come out of the traps really strong at this time of the year. They didn't win their own division last season. The only reason they're in the Conference League is that they won the Polish Cup. But I still think they're quite a powerhouse, really, in Poland. And the handicap here is -2 on Legia Warsaw. I think they win by at least 2 goals. At home to a Kazakhstani side, it's usually a good idea to fade the Kazakhstani teams away from home and bet on the Kazakhstani teams at home, because no one ever wants to go out there to travel. Even national teams going out to Kazakhstan have been known to have some issues down the years and maybe winning, but not by too many goals. Duncan asked, I wonder how many of the Penybont Ultras have made the trip. Several, I would imagine a lot, because these sides, this is their time of year, these minnows from Wales, Ireland, Northern Ireland, San Marino, Andorra, whatever. This is, for them, it's like a holiday for the fans, for the players. So they will get some support out there. That is for sure. But yeah, good luck with that RHM. I think you just got to be not brave as such here, but I mean, maybe in running you can look at a position. If they're both, say, 1-0 up, then you're looking at potentially guaranteeing your hedge. But I mean, certainly you would be surprised if Shakthar blew up. And Nathan, I did a lot of research into that match yesterday with Sharif, and it did sound pretty good. So yeah, loads of matches on the board. I'd love to go through more of them, but I mean, some of these teams, honestly, I was saying before to Tim off air that I've not actually heard of some of these teams in action today, which is unlike me. So some of these teams are absolutely best watched. But Tim, I did ask you for your best bet for Wimbledon tomorrow with the men's. And if you had to pick one, what would you go with?
Yeah, I've just double checked that over 10.5 set 1 games in Alcaraz Fritz tomorrow, and it's slightly bigger. It's +175 over 10.5 games first set. I think that's what I'd be looking for. Fritz be obviously keen to get off that good start. If he serves as well as he has done all tournament, I think it'd be tough for Alcaraz to find a break early on. And yeah, over 10.5 games in set 1 would be my best bet of the semi-finals tomorrow.
Thanks very much, Tim. Enjoyed that one today. And thanks everyone who joined live or on demand. Remember, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. That'd be greatly appreciated. The Betting Weekly Insider, if you're not signed up to that, then do it, because we've got an Open Golf Championship preview hitting your inbox tomorrow. And on Betting Weekly Live tomorrow, Nigel Seeley is going to be joining me. So he'll be looking ahead to the women's final at Wimbledon, men's final, Club World Cup final as well. So get all your questions in for that. Lots to discuss about that final heading at the weekend. Chelsea against PSG. But from this edition of Betting Weekly Live, Tim, thank you very much as always. And good luck with all your plays for the rest of Wimbledon. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.